Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're ready to get confused, because I'll save you some time at the beginning of this video and just say, we don't know the answer officially yet, because Apple's being a bit confusing on it, and there's multiple different ways of looking at it, but in today's video, I'll basically be explaining why most of us are confused, and I'm actually trying to send the message out there in case there are, other bigger YouTubers that are gonna have the mini LED iPad Pro sooner than the rest of us. We need to ask them if the new iPad is compatible with the older Magic Keyboard cases, because we don't know what to believe anymore, okay? Let's begin. So first of all, I was really bummed out when I started seeing these headlines, both from The Verge and 9to5Mac. They were all citing a different news site that claimed to have access to the hands-on model, and were saying that Apple has actually updated the Magic Keyboard case. It's not just the new color option that comes in white, but the fact that it actually says new under the black option or the white option, and with the 12.9-inch variant, you can't order it yet. That means, of course, that this is actually a refreshed Magic Keyboard case, and yes, this updated keyboard case is backwards compatible. So if you have not bought a Magic Keyboard case yet and you decided to order this one that they just launched last week, that one will still work with the older 2018 iPad Pro. So we're not talking about the backwards compatibility of the newly announced Magic Keyboard case. We're talking about this older Magic Keyboard case that they launched last year. There's a lot of people who have spent $350 on these things plus tax, and they're curious if they can keep using their old keyboard case on the new mini LED iPad Pros that they unveiled last week, that we're all going to be ordering in a couple days. So finding out if people need to order a new keyboard case is somewhat important, and the confusing part is we've gotten conflicting answers from Apple about this. So there were a few people that contacted Apple support, and they were told that yes, you would be able to use your old Magic Keyboard case you bought last year with this new mini LED iPad Pro, but other people also contacted Apple support and got the exact opposite answer, saying that yes, in order to use a Magic Keyboard case with the mini LED iPad, you're going to have to buy a new one, because the mini LED display on the new iPad Pro added to the thickness by about 0.5 millimeters. But then the plot just gets even more thick and confusing, because there's actually plenty of people in online forums I'm reading about now saying that they get pretty hefty screen protectors that are about 0.5 millimeters thick with glass, and they can put them on their older 2018 iPad Pros with the Magic Keyboard case, and they can still close it and it works just fine. So what actually has Apple tinkered with this updated Magic Keyboard case to make it more compatible for the thicker iPad? We don't officially know. It could be a weight thing. It could be some extra added magnets in there that weren't there before. And we know this doesn't apply to the 11-inch iPad Pro, because you can still buy that keyboard case in black. The white one isn't available to order yet, but when you select the black one, it does not say new and you can still buy it. So because Apple support doesn't exactly know what they're talking about, and the fact that Apple hasn't come forward with a more official statement saying, no, the old one will not work, but the new one will, and you all have to buy a new one if you want a new iPad Pro, I'm very, very confused. But part of the reason I have a feeling that the old keyboard case will work, it just might not be as tight a fit. The magnets might be misaligned or something, or the weight ratio of the heavier iPad might throw off the keyboard case balance a little bit or something, is the fact that the Smart Folio keyboard has not changed. I find this kind of interesting because you can still buy it today and it still says it's compatible with the 5th generation 12.9-inch iPad Pro. That's the mini LED one. There's no new branding on it or anything. So essentially, they did not change the Smart Keyboard Folio for the 12.9-inch model, but it is still compatible with the thicker iPad. So maybe because this one isn't as rigid and it's not got a trackpad, and maybe because it's a bit more flexible, they didn't have to adjust the design of this one. But seeing the fact that Smart Keyboard Folio didn't have to be updated makes me think, okay, the magnets should still align on the new iPad. The weight shouldn't matter too much in this case, and also the smart connector must be in the same place and have the same arrangement. And it's confusing to see Apple say on support chat that no, you have to buy a new Magic Keyboard case, and also see people say that they have added skins or screen protectors to their iPad Pros and still been able to use the Magic Keyboard case. And it makes me wonder if Apple is doing one of those things where they had to tinker the design a little bit, and they're really, really hoping that you want the newer one, that you get the newer keyboard case, because it's going to be a cleaner fit. The magnets are going to be more properly aligned or whatever. So they encourage you to get a new one, but in reality, the old keyboard case does technically still work. It's just slightly off. And it somewhat reminds me of what Apple has done with watch bands, which on bands like the braided loop or the solo loop, on the webpage it says that the solo loop and braided loop bands are only compatible with the Apple Watch SE and Series 4 or newer. And while the fit on those newer watches is pretty close, people have still been able to attach those older watch bands to the Series 3 or 2. They do still technically connect. It's just they don't mesh and they don't line up with the chassis exactly right. But on Apple's own website, they say they're not compatible, which is kind of one of those vague areas of Apple encouraging you to get the newer one, but at the same time, if you want to use the old one, you can. So I'm holding out hope. I want to be on the bright side of this and hope that yes, you will be able to use your old Magic Keyboard case. It just might not close exactly right, or the weight might make it a bit easier for the mini LED iPad to pop off or something, because I for sure do not want to have to spend another $400 or whatever on a keyboard case, especially when I already have one that works fine, just because this new iPad Pro is 0.5 millimeters thicker, and that somehow throws off this whole magical balancing act of the iPad Pro and Magic Keyboard case. It just doesn't sound believable to me, but Apple being intentionally vague, hoping you do buy a new one, that sounds more like Apple. And if it straight up doesn't work, in fact, they could even put in like a software limitation, so you get the mini LED iPad, you put it on your old keyboard case, and it's like, sorry, this one isn't compatible, even if the smart connector aligns and the magnets align and everything. That would just annoy the crap out of me, and it would probably be a deal breaker for upgrading entirely. So I hope Apple can understand there's probably a lot of people out there that it would be a deal breaker for, and for that reason, they should be a tad more clear on whether or not the old keyboard cases will work or not. My guess is they can, and they do. It just might not close exactly right, but I know a lot of people, including myself, that basically don't ever close the Magic Keyboard case. They just kind of leave it open on their desk, and then when they take their iPad on the go, they just pull it off the keyboard case with the floating design, which is one of the great benefits of it. So I'm very, very curious to see how this is going to play out. And again, I want to send this video out there to all of you early review unit people. You know who you are, the people on Tim Cook's nice list, the people who are going to get the mini LED iPad Pros before the rest of us. You probably already have them as you're watching this. Please check to see if it will work on the old keyboard case and let us know as soon as possible, because this is kind of a big deciding factor on whether or not people want to upgrade. And if they want to use the iPad with a keyboard case, they need to know whether or not they want to order the new one. So thank you for your time. Appreciate you all watching. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one.